Sotah Daf Lamed begins in the middle of a discussion of the levels of Tumah and Tahara. As we've said, there's Ava Tumah, which is a source of Tumah itself. There's Rishon, Sheni, Shlishi, Revi, Chamishi. And depending on the level of Kedusha that something has, is this level of susceptibility. So the Gemara begins by quoting Rav Asi in the name of Rav, or some say Rabba ben Isi in the name of Rav, to show that 5 Tanaim all hold that there's no such thing as a shlishi of chulin that's created by sheni. That if something is a sheni l'tumah, cannot make a shlishi, cannot be metame a shlishi if it's just regular chulin. There's 5 Tanaim who hold this way. The Gemara says is Rav Meir, Rav Yossi, Rav Yeshua, Rav Elazar, and Rav Eliezer. Now, where do you see? The Gemara is going to show each one separately. So, Rabbi Meir, the Gemara starts first. Rabbi Meir says in a Mishnah, anything which requires tevila and a mikvah midirabanan could be metame karbanos. That means it could make a shlishi for karbanos, and that shlishi could then make a revi. So you could have up to revi. It passes truma. That means the truma could make up to a shlishi, and it's mutter b'chulin. It doesn't aser chulin. And the same thing applies to Meiser. On Meiser, the Machakis the Chamim argue. So you see, Rabbi Meir clearly holds, it's Rabbi Meir and the Chachamim argue over Meiser, but they both hold that in regular Chulin there is no status of a Shlishi. It stops by Sheni, it can't go further than that. And the next makar is that Rav Yossi holds that there is no Shlishi by chulin, and the makar for that is because earlier we saw that he had a kavachomer from tful yoim to chulin, that you could learn that truma is possible as a shlishi because sheni of chulin is stronger than a tful yoim. But if there's a shlishi of chulin, then shlishi of chulin is stronger than a tful yoim. So then you could, then if even a shlishi of chulin is stronger than a tful yoim, you should learn that a revi'i of truma is psol. You can learn a step further for truma. So why did we stop? Why did Yossi stop by saying a shlishi of truma? If he held that there's a shlishi of chulin, he could have learned a revi'i of truma. Obviously, the fact that he learns a shlishi of truma, there is no shlishi of chulin. In the same vein, he could also learn a chamishi by kodesh, which he doesn't. Now, you see it in Rabbi Yeshua, because Rabbi Yeshua has a machlokes with Rabbi Elazar about someone who eats tamei food. So this is talking about tumah midirabanan. One is more tamei if he eats something that's tamei midirabanan. So Rabbi Elazar says, you are whatever you eat. If you eat a rishon, you are rishon. If you eat a sheni, you're a sheni. If you eat a shlishi, you're a shlishi. Rabbi Yeshua has a number of different rules. He says, if you eat a rishon, you're a sheni. If you eat a sheni, though, you're still a sheni. If you eat a shlishi, so now there's a split in. As far as kodesh is concerned, you're a sheni, and any kodesh that you touch now will become a shlishi. As far as truma you're concerned, you're not, you're a shlishi. Now, chulin, that's naso al taras truma, that is chulin, which you are keeping the halachos of truma. There you have that same status as well. However, if it's naso al taras kodesh, or if it's just a regular chulin, you don't have this halacha. So you see, there's no din of shlishi by chulin, because you only become a sheni for chulin shenaso al taras kodesh, or about chulin shenaso al taras truma, not for regular chulin. There is no regular chulin, you can't make it to a shlishi. Now, where do you see that Rabbi Elazar holds this way? So Rabbi Elazar has a machlokes with a different Tana. If it makes a difference, if a rishon, if it itself is chulin, truma, or kodesh. According to the other Tana, it makes a difference. Rabbi Elazar holds it makes no difference. The rishon, all three of these could be a rishon. It makes no difference what it is. It has the same halacha. Now, what halacha does it have? So here's where we see what he holds. So he spells it out. So he says, if you're talking about that they're making kodesh tamei, so they could be metame 2 and poisel 1, meaning they can make a sheni tamei, a shlishi tamei, and a revi posel, but no further. If you're referring to truma, so they could make a sheni tamei, and the shlishi would be posel, but no further. Remember, the term tamei means that it could posel something else, and the term posel means that it itself can't be eaten, but it doesn't go any further. And if you're talking about chulin, it only becomes posel, that means you can only make a sheni, you can't make a shlishi. So you see here clearly that Rabbi Elazar holds that there is no shlishi by chulin. The Gemara now turns to the fifth Tana who holds that there's no shlishi by chulin. This is Rabbi Eliezer. And the Gemara discusses Sugyan Hilchos Challah, where we have three opinions. What happens when you have a dough, you didn't take challah from it yet, and it becomes tameh? Now, you're not a kohen, so you could eat it. There's no problem of eating tameh. The problem is that you didn't take challah from it yet, and if you take challah, your challah will be tameh. You're not going to make tameh challah. So there's a number of opinions what to do. But Rabbi Eliezer holds what you should do is you should take challah from tahar dough, and it should go on that tameh dough. Now the problem is, how do you make it go on that? You have to combine the two in some way. And if you combine the two, you'll be mitameh the tahar dough. So there's three opinions. So the first opinion, the Chachamim hold you can't do it. Rabbi Eliezer holds you could do it by connecting them with a ball of dough which is less than a kabetza, less than the size of an egg, because the dough will become tameh and it won't be metame the tahar dough. The middle ball will become tameh, but it won't pass tameh to the third ball. And then there's another brisa, a third opinion holds it could even be larger than an egg, and that's not a problem. It won't pass tameh to the third thing. So the Gemara wants to know, what is the machlekes about, whether it'll be metame the tahar dough or not. So the Gemara first wants to say that everybody holds that the tahar dough has a status of regular chulin, even though you're going to take challah from it now. It doesn't have a status of challah, it has a status of chulin. And the machlekes is there such a thing as a shlishi of chulin? It's chulin. So the middle bowl would be the sheni. The tummy one is a rishon. The middle bowl is a sheni. And the third one that you're trying to take from would be a shlishi. So according to the Tana, it says you can't do it. The problem is that it's becoming tameh, and there is such a thing as a shlishi by chulin. And therefore you can't do it because you're going to be metame. And anyway, when you take challah from it, it'll be challah tameh. According to Rabbi Eliezer, you could, as long as it's less than a kibetza, it's fine, and there's no chulin there. And according to the third opinion, it's even if it's larger than a kibetza, there's no problem of you can't make a shlishi out of chulin. That's what Gemara wants to say, and therefore you see Rabbi Eliezer's opinion that there's no such thing as a shlishi of chulin. So the Gemara says this is not necessarily the pshat. There's a different way of understanding this machlekes here. Rav Mari Breda of Kahana says, is that really everybody holds you can't make chulin into a shlishi, but here it has the machlekes is, does this have a din of chulin or a din of challah? It could be that since you didn't take challah from it, the challah is in there, and what you're going to end up taking is in there, so therefore it has a din of challah. And the machlekes is that true? Does it have a din of challah or not? Another opinion is that there's a machlekes if you're allowed to cause tumah to chulin in Eretz Yisrael, that even though you won't be creating a real tumah here, but the ball in between will be, are you allowed to cause tumah to a dough in Eretz Yisrael b'chal? Going to one opinion, you can't, because you're going to cause tumah and you're not allowed to. This concludes the Gemara's discussion of tumah and tahara. The Gemara now refers back to our Mishnah where we saw a machlekes between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Eliezer, the son of Rabbi Saglili, how you understand the pasuk talking about 1,000 amos outside the city. Is it talking about the tchum, or is it talking about something else? So the machlekes is based on if tchumin is a deraisa or if it's a derabanan. If it's a derabanan, it can't be what the pasuk is referring to. The Gemara now refers to the next thing in the Mishnah where Rabbi Akiva said a drasha by Az Yasher, and Klaisel came out of the Yam. They said shira, and it says lemor, that he says that they were saying Shema, they were repeating after him. So the Gemara brings three different opinions as to how it went, how the repeating happened. The first is that it's like somebody saying Shema for somebody else who's an adult, who's someone saying Halal for someone else who's an adult, who's capable of saying his own Shema, and he's just leading him, and he's saying the beginning, and then everybody else continues afterwards. So that would work as follows. Moshe Rabbeinu said Ashir el Hashem, and they all said Ashir el Hashem. Moshe said Ki go, and they went back and said Ashir el Hashem. Now, the second shot is Rabbi Eliezer ben Rabbi Saglili. He said that it's like somebody leading halal for a child, that you have to say it from word for word because he doesn't know the words. Moshe said Ashir el Hashem, they said Ashir el Hashem. Moshe said Ki go, they said Ki go. Rabbi Chemia is the third opinion. He says it's like Talmidei Chachamim, who know everything well. They all knew the words. The Shekhinah put all the words in their mouths at the same time. It's like a chazan who begins Parsal Shema, he says like half the Shema that he started, and they all finished it off together. Now, the Rabbi Akiva learns from the fact that it says Lamor. He says Lamor is referring that they said the first line. They kept repeating the first line. They went back to the first line. Rabbi Eliezer ben Glili says Lamor goes on everything. They repeated everything. Rabbi Nechemia says it says Vayomer Lamor. Vayomer is that they all said it together. Lamor is to say that Moshe Rabbeinu started and he went first. Lamor quotes another brayso on the subject. Lamor says Joshua Rabbi Glili. The time the Klal Yisrael came out of the Yam, they put their eyes, meaning they intended to say Shira. What did they say? The child who was lying on his mother's knees and a baby who was nursing from the mother, they, as soon as they saw the Shechina, began to say Shira. The child lifted up his neck and he said Shira, and the baby dropped the dad that he was nursing from his mouth, and they all said Zekeriva Anveyu. And you see this because it says in the pasuk, "Mipi oilim v'yoinkim yisadet ha'ois," you set the world's foundation on the children and on the babies. Rabbi Meir says, how do you know that even the fetuses inside the mother's womb said Shira? Because it says b'mak helois baruch lekim mi mekor Yisrael. So inside the mekor of Yisrael, they were already saying Shira.